Since its IPO in December 2022, ITMAX has successfully transitioned from a very KL or DBKL-centric service provider to become a pan-Malaysian smart city infrastructure player. By late 2025, the company has solidified its foothold in Johor, in Penang, and securing a fresh mandate from DBKL. This build-to-operate model, will it continue to generate high margin recurring revenue, and will it really justify for paying its premium valuation today? So I covered this company at the height of its IPO offering back in 2022. So this video is really an update to give you what has changed, what has transpired, and what has grown over this past 3 years. So stay till the end of the video to hear my thoughts. So as a disclaimer, even though I'm a licensed financial planner with the Securities Commission of Malaysia, this video by no way constitutes a buy or sell recommendation of the company that is being discussed. It is purely for educational purposes only to assess its business viability and its financial position. So for those of you new to this channel, my name is John. I'm the founder of VUCA Insights, formerly an engineer turned full-time investor. I'm a wealth planning director at Philip Wealth Planners. And I'm also the author of an upcoming book called The Malaysian Multi-Bankers that should be out in Q1 2026. So this video is an update to the 2022 IPO video that I did coverage on ITMAX. And for those of you who want to watch it, you can click the link to the video on the right. As a quick refresh, for those of you unfamiliar with ITMAX's business model, what it does is it actually builds, engineers, and constructs surveillance monitoring systems for municipal councils, city councils within Malaysia, and it does something like a build to operate model where the capex cost or capital expenditure is not forked out by the municipal council or the city council. They would finance, they would fork out the costs, and it is actually rented back as a complete system back to the city councils for them to actually just gather insights. And the beauty about this business is that it's pretty sticky. The moment you already construct and build this infrastructure and not having the city council lay out a single upfront capex cost, it's very unlikely that the city council will just rip out the whole system. So that's the niche or the moat of this particular business. So if you can see the latest quarterly report released in November 2025, it still continues to deliver double-digit growth. Quarter on quarter is roughly about 12%. They fully rolled out the surveillance system in Johor for both city surveillance as well as traffic management system. And really, it's a high profit margin business because it's purely a subscription income from the digital infrastructure revenue segment. It is, the moment you have this systems or ecosystem actually installed, the next big capex cycle for the company will come when they secure a contract, and there usually is an upfront payment and a milestone claim based on the progress of the systems being built. So if you know how to manage cash flow tightly and ensure that you get paid on each milestone, then the burden on the balance sheet for this company is not that taxing actually. So its net margins are very, very high, in excess of 30 to 40%, and they are already expanding geographically because it's a very scalable model. The moment you create a command center and you have a centralized artificial intelligence system to help you determine the different things that you monitor, the different things that you survey, then I think you don't need to hire more manpower. Actually, the system learns on its own and adapts very, very quickly. So aside from just having DBKL as their originating client, they have expanded into Majlis Bandaraya Johor Bahru, Iskandar Puteri, Kulai, Pasir Gudang. Their integrated smart city suite includes CCTV surveillance, network street lighting, smart traffic lights. So what we see, those thriller movies that we see in the US where the entire city is under CCTV surveillance by the CIA or the NSA or MI6 in London. This is something that we solely lack in the past, and now ITMAX is one of the providers to enable the system. Yes, there's the scary part where you can shut down your car. They can, if it gets hacked, they can shut down the entire traffic system and create chaos and havoc. Yeah, but that's something that I think you can't avoid. You try to minimize using cyber security tools to prevent this kind of D-Day scenarios. But yeah, imagine not having it. Not if a thunderstorm and happens in the city and you need to reroute traffic, and you can't send manpower personnel out, then one of the ways to actually navigate through this chaos is actually through smart city systems. So the beauty of this business model is really it's like a toll bridge kind of moat, because first and foremost, as I mentioned earlier, ITMAX pays for the entire infrastructure cost, the cameras, the fibers, the posts upfront. The city pays nothing, and it simply pays a monthly subscription fee, very similar to like your Netflix subscription, over a 10-15 year contract. And reason why this is important is because the contracts are to ensure or to safeguard that whatever ITMAX comes out in capital expenditure will be recouped over a certain period of time. I mean, no vendor would want to risk, paying for massive capex up front, and you don't have a lock-in period to ensure that you can recoup all this cost, right? If the city council really wants to fire ITMAX, they would have to lose out on the entire infrastructure, and it's a very big or massive switching cost to actually switch out all the sensors, the installed system, the control and monitoring center, and not to mention, I'm pretty sure ITMAX will have several of their key staff, stationed at the command center, because I doubt that DBKL would hire an entire team just to maintain the system. They would work hand in hand with the operator, and it's part of this contract for them to provide this entire solutions. So the second sticky point about ITMAX system is that they own the infrastructure. So what do I mean by they own the infrastructure? They don't rely on third-party fibers like Time.com or TNB or Telecom Malaysia. They own the fiber network itself, and that connects to all the devices. So it's all proprietary. They are not beholden to a third-party guy maintaining the infrastructure, the viability of the network. And they not just own that, they also own the proprietary data that they have collected while operating this system for the city council. That algorithm that has been in place, as you guys, I'm pretty sure are very familiar with. An AI system gets better and better over time, because the more you train the data on, the more efficient the system gets. And an AI system is dumb if you don't feed it with enough information to iterate over time. So I think these three things is zero capex upfront for the city council, the ownership of the infrastructure, and last but not least, all these proprietary models that ITMAX has actually accumulated while serving or executing the system for the city councils. So while I alluded to a little bit of the financials earlier, let's look into specific numbers. Quarter 3 2025, I think they did a revenue of 65.2 million, net profit of roughly about 24 million, which they have increased year on year of about 34%. Profit margins, net profit margins are close to 39.3, which is like very, very high for any business in Malaysia, to be honest with you. And the stickiness of what I just mentioned, that I feel is an attractive business moat for ITMAX. Are there any downsides or risks for this particular business? Definitely. I think I can break it down into 4. The first one is really political or regulatory shifts. Even though they've diversified into different city councils, their revenue is still 100% dependent on government to business arrangements. A change in state government, whether it's at the state level or whether it's at the federal level, could lead to contract renegotiations, delay in payments, And if payments are missed and cash flow is being disrupted, I think that is a potential risk that ITMAX has to bear. The second is really the doomsday event that I mentioned. A hacker hacks into your system, brings chaos into the entire traffic for the city. So really, cybersecurity and data privacy you're talking about entire cities now. It's not just a single computer or a single server. If a major breach happens, obviously there's reputational damage. There is worry about future hacking because all this data is being stolen during the event. The third is really the scaling execution risk. They've proven that they have done for a few cities, but now it's more cities that is going to come online. How are you going to not just project manage new infrastructure build, but more on the operating cycle where once these systems are installed, will they be able to hire fast enough? Will they be able to scale fast enough to actually operate all these systems that they are leasing out to all these city councils? And last but not least, right now, valuation is really on the high side. It's often in the high last 12 months or trailing PE of more than 40 times. If the quarterly growth actually just slows down, this explosive growth just slows down, will they suffer a PE contraction? Will fund houses started to get jittery and start to sell off the position? That's something that you as an investor, you have to consider and look at the margin of safety. Are you willing to pay for that kind of valuation premiums? So to conclude, the new 42 million DBKL contract that just secured, I think the market is currently digesting how it adds to their recurring income base, and whether that scalability is still going to happen for other cities or even outside of Malaysia. Will they be able to scale outside of the country once all the predominant cities within Malaysia roll out their infrastructure or lease their systems from ITMAX? So if you want to check out the other businesses or stocks that I've analyzed, check out the other videos on this channel, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.